Hello and good morning from here. And we all have a morning when we start our day. And we have unlimited possibilities of how we're going to experience our day. And given the chance at this point of time to open up and listen to words of wisdom that are going to define, to help us experience our day in the best way, is only a matter of great fortune. So how am I going to receive such words of wisdom? In a very innocent, simple way, where I let go maybe of what I know, what I'm sure is like this, and just be open to someone that I fully trust and he knows better than me. And so whatever he says, total respect and willingness to see it fully and put it in practice instantly. And with fun, in the energy of fun, because I know there is only benefit. And the only reason that I listen to this wisdom is in order for me to see that I'm like my teacher.
One rosary is that of remembrance. The more love you have in remembrance of the Father, and the more time you have in that remembrance, the Father accordingly remembers you for just as long and with just as much love. Therefore, are you able to give yourself a number? If your remembrance is constant and your love is total, if you don't look at anyone but the one Father, and you remain constantly combined with the Father, then you would come into the Rosary as a combined bead. You would be connected to the Father. You would constantly be number one in every aspect. The first division will always be fast. That is, they are always in the flying stage. They experience the Father's company, cooperation, and love in every thought and at every second. They constantly experience being hand in hand with the Father and in the Father's company.
The question could arise, has God conditions in the way he is and he expresses what he is? And one of his qualities is love. So when we are aware of someone, and in this case, someone who is invisible and yet real, not an abstract idea, then we can experience this presence, this being, and whatever his qualities are. So it's not that God would ever give more or less. This doesn't exist in connection with his personality, his DNA. It's impossible. But this is the nature of the human existence of the souls, that whatever you are aware of, it is that you experience, whether it is physical or invisible. So to experience God's love, you have to shine the light of your attention. In other words, your awareness, to be aware. And the more you are aware of him or her, he is the parent, he is the companion, the more you feel his unlimited beauty, his supreme qualities, and then you want to be more with him. You are with him anyways. We are, as souls, we are with the Supreme Soul. But if my attention is at the physical level, I feel that I'm not with him. So the ones who realize the deeper wisdom of Baba, they feel that they are connected with him all the time. In other words, they feel the truth, the fact. The fact is that we are with Baba. But the only thing is, where is my attention? And there is no higher victory other than seeing that you are combined with God and experiencing it now, combined with God forever, and experience the sweetness of all relationships with Him in a real way, in a natural way, not thinking about Him, just being aware of His presence, because He's with you all the time. And then you're filled with the nectar of His presence.
The first division will always be fast. They are always in the flying stage. The second division experience the ascending stage, but not the flying stage. Sometimes it takes less time and sometimes it takes more time to overcome the obstacles that come in the ascending stage. When they feel that something is an obstacle, they stop. This is why they sometimes have a slight feeling of tiredness and get disheartened with overcoming obstacles. The third division. They move along, stop, and cry out. Sometimes they move along and sometimes they cry out. They are engaged in making effort to have remembrance because they are not always combined. They are constantly trying to fulfill the responsibility of all relationships. Now, because of the closeness of time, you must bring yourself closer to the Father. That is, you must make yourself equal to the Father.
Like with any journey, what is very, very important is the first step. And anything we do in our life, the foundation is very important. So, what is the foundation in my experiencing or in this journey of being the truth, experiencing the truth? So, the first step, and this can be every moment that I am aware and more conscious, and I want to really see who I am and experience Baba. So every moment I should make sure that my first step is right. And the first step is to see from where Baba sees and where God lives. God lives in what is real. And his home and he himself and we ourselves are real, and we also belong to the same reality. And if we become aware of this in a second, we can do this in a second, then when we come on this physical dimension at this point of time, where we have the role of learning again to not identify with our role and remain always aware of who we are. So when we come into this role, then we remain very clear that, and this is the aim that creates the first division, that we are not that role, we don't belong to that physical world. And so it's like you're flying. And you know the game very clearly, that whatever comes as a scene in the drama that appears in your mind, as a scene in your mind, your aim is to just see it as such and not engage with it at all. So this is like flying, and you enjoy that you have also this game to play, this godly game, because God is inviting you to remain with him all the time and resist the pull of all these other games of the mind. But when we let go of this awareness, then we still have the aim and we learn. But when we identify, maybe we spend a little bit of time, and yes, we still learn and we still acquire experience of truth and experiences of how to deal with falsehood, but it's different than the flying stage. And the third stage is when you don't start, when the first step is not the right one, when your starting position is, I am this role and I'm trying to be the flying bird or to be the soul. But already you are influenced, your intellect, your sanskaras, by the personality that is blocking, filtering the power of the self. And so it's a struggle, and sometimes you are able to come out from the role, but most of the time not, maybe, or you're engaging too much with the sanskaras of the role, fighting, and then this can create all sorts of unpleasant feelings. Third category.
Which one is easier, to fly, to jump, or to crawl? And you beautifully described that these are stages in understanding and in experiencing your truth. And when you are in that flying stage, it means that you are able to receive that love and that power from the Supreme Soul. And you fly with the Supreme Soul. You fly in their company, in that energy, in that awareness. It becomes very easy. And when you start to look at yourself and feel, no, I'm very good, I'm doing it myself, no one is as good as I am, all of these attainments are mine, it is me and mine and I am so and so, that will come in the way and make you separate from that higher companion, that wise companion. And of course, when you try to jump over an obstacle, there is more effort, more energy required. You become tired. And that's why you start to ask, give me this, give me that, and help me. And you still make progress, but it's not as enjoyable as when you fly. And in the other stage of the mind, it means that you really don't know to whom to cry out. You think you ask for help, but you are so confused and there is some kind of hopelessness in the soul. At the present moment in time, it feels like human beings do not really know how and to whom to cry out. They do cry out for the help of the Supreme Soul or God. It requires some awareness to be able to make that connection. And the first awareness in which you can receive support is, as you described, I am a soul. And you are a soul, you are an elevated soul. Would you like to add? Would you like to share? What would be your comments? And what is the practice for today?
Everyone is an elevated soul, and everyone is perfect. The first or second or third division, or the difference, what makes the difference is how much time I spent with perfection. And it may start in the beginning with some thoughts defining what is an elevated soul, and someone who does not know the weaknesses, and this someone is an invisible being. And so just with very simple steps, for example, letting go of the awareness of anything physical to start with, and then some few thoughts, and it might be even one thought. For example, not to have desires or expectations. So that is, elevated soul is someone who is always content. So for today, I could experiment with this invisible presence that is silent, that is content. And if thoughts like desires or expectations, or maybe for some other people there are some other favorite thoughts that appear, if they appear, I see them as stories of the mind connected with that physical world. And at that moment, I merge everything and I make all of them a point. And then I see again. It's not that I see, but it emerges. After a while, if I repeat this practice, the the experience of being elevated emerges. And then I start tasting my truth, which is so attractive, like magnet, and to be content and to feel your fullness. What more one can want? So maybe we can see how elevated we are, and then we see that others are also elevated just by letting go again and again in a fun way the thoughts that have worked as thieves until now, and they trap our attention. They don't allow us to see the reality that we are.
So the practice for today is contentment, and we meet again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you.